Hello, space friends. We're back with the ninth episode of Voice of New Eden. That means we have been here for 9 weeks already, and I can tell you, with the amount of episodes that I have, we're going to be here for a while. Anyways, our guest for this week's episode has been around for a while. He's a PvPer, a dust guy, and he's a player who took initiative to raise awareness about sexual violence for Denim Day 2024. Sit back, relax, and let's hear more from Issod.
All right, I'm Angskel. I've been playing Eve off and on for about 15 years, depending on the situation, whether it was real life obligations. It's coincided with my military service, so sometimes I go offline for a really long period of time based off of my job. Recently been able to get back. I've been back for a solid year now and having a great time. I started playing Eve because there's a friend of mine in the neighborhood that uh, told me about all these crazy exploits that were happening, and that there was this Apocrypha expansion about to happen, and just all this wild stuff with treachery and sandbox MMO style games. He never told me his character's name. He OPSEC'd his own things in front of me, despite the fact that was literally on my, I think, 21-day trial back then. So obviously the culture of the game has changed a lot since, but there's a lot more openness today. People are more acceptant of mistakes, and they use them more as teachable moments, vice just kicking you from a corp because your kill board looks like crap. There's way more accessibility and third-party tools, and I would say there's also more of a willingness to actually teach people what a lot of the secret sauce is. A lot of the solved problems that weren't solved when I started playing, people now enjoy just giving that as a source of joy that they experience for a particular period of time that they might have moved on from. So with that, I would say all in all, the game is far less toxic than what it used to be. What do I not do in game? Is a better question. I've done. All right, I'll say the things I've not done yet. I've not done modern day faction warfare, and I've never consistently done Poxfin style things. And things that I have done, I can go through brief history. I got my start in, I think, what became Absolute Order. Back in the day, it was called Paladin Order. My very first week in the game, we get a high sec war deck training opportunity with Noir. And I proceeded to get a brand new Comrade, only to literally have it blow up no later than like a week into the game. And I thought my life was over for a little bit. I didn't rage quit. I just kept rolling with the punches, but it started with a flash. And so from there, I moved over to do some low sec piracy. Went on, was making boosters with a group of people called Knowledge Stick Station. I got turned on from them because I saw somebody I recognized in Noir did a joint op with them while they were running drugs into a high sec trade hub. And I was like, oh well, Nars worked with these people before, so that must mean that they're kind of cool. Hung out with them a few months. I then went to NPC Null uh, with one group that was heavily try hard on the kill board. I uh, I came fresh off of deployment, so I probably wasn't in the best state of mind to play the game when that happened too. So I whelped some, and they booted me from Corp. Um, Later on, I later joined CVA. Was hanging out with them for quite a bit, but I really got tired of the nullsec politics, and then life happened. I got 4 kids now. I had one. I had one that was, barely a year old, and then with another one on the way. I took a break from the game after that, and I went into another facet of the game. I went into Dust, Dust 514. From Dust 514, I put all my marbles in that. Big mistake. Probably be. I'm still having fun, but ISK-wise, I'd probably be in a much better position if I just would have stayed with Eve and just committed to the cause over there more frequently as CVA. I really tried to play the whole meta game then. Um, and I kept moving up in the ranks until eventually I was a CEO, and I actually held sovereignty as CEO in Molten Heath. And if I remember right, it was in Hrober. So I was part of a group that was holding sovereignty in space while also being in charge of sovereignty in Mimitar space while being an Amarian. So I played that role play card really hard, got deep into the lore of the game, and all of that stuff kind of added up where I now had that fresh new kid that was out and about. I needed to focus on my family. And so I took a long break after that. Came back. I took a long break partially because of that and also because of the poor reception. And I felt like it was very poor execution that CCP did. Uh, Sundowning Dust. I thought that was absolutely terrible how the game died. Um, Fast forward a few years, I see an email pop up in my inbox. So claim your Dust character's name for Eve Vanguard. I hopped on that. I looked at it. I said, "Oh, you can finally do Gerst as faction warfare. That's pretty cool." Uh, Saw a whole bunch of new ships. I saw the Triglavians, and I was like, "All right, let's give it a shot." Got my Omega, and ever since, I've been hanging out in wormholes. Do low class wormhole stuff with a corporation called Bob Volt. Um, we have no blues, and but we have a lot of purples in our life. I do a lot of MPSI. I've hung out with everybody from Wormhole Police, yourself and Eve Rookies, doing both PvP and PvE. Uh, Raven, doing C6 ratting, and then sometimes Surprise, Wormhole PvP. Um, I've done Fun Inc. with Nullsec Roams. Um, Done Spectre Fleet. I've been one of those twerps in Amazon, just doing Amazon things, uh, rewarding stupidity. Um, and let's see, but obviously, I love hanging out with my guys in the wormhole space. Like making money, meeting new people in incursions. But I'd say one of my favorite things was one of the things I actually did with you and maybe we can do it again, which was that Denim Day fleet that we did. So we did that. Got a lot of backup from a lot of people that I saw throughout the years that I've talked on and off with. Uh, B4R is first and foremost in my heart. In real life, not only do I still do the whole military, the Navy thing, but volunteer to be a sexual assault prevention response victim advocate. I've been doing that for 4 years now. I'm up for recertification right now, and I'm probably going to keep doing it until I retire out of the Navy. So it was a really big deal for me to do a fleet that was set up for awareness, and we had decent turnout. But I'd like to see it even bigger next year, or this year now, 2025. I would say the people. I would say the people. I'd say the community. I would say like you're always a wallflower whenever you're not playing and Eve Online. There's always something there where you see something silly in like an Eve Reddit that you never stopped subscribing from, or an old Discord that you never left, and you see people having fun. You see old friends that you used to team up with. You see you you see new things come out on the game. You see it brings you back to, I wouldn't say better times, but different times when you were enjoying your time with somebody. And I mean, I recently had to take a rather short break. It was about 2.5 months because my work schedule picked up like crazy, and the amount of inboxes that I'd get from this random person, that random person, like, "Hey, I haven't seen you around in a bit." It wasn't somebody just waiting to kick me from corp. It was, instead it was like people like authentically worried slash, missing me. And I feel like the human element type of crowds that the game attracts, really good people, really smart people, uh, people kind of on the same wavelength that I'm at when it comes to my thinking. Um, it's a community. It always will be. I think CCP, Black Desert Online, the whole parent company of that has lost sight of the big picture of the state of the world today, and so we have runaway inflation in the world, and it also reflects with almost runaway inflation with flex. Spitballing numbers here, uh, and it might be a good time to take a break.
A few moments later.
So Plex. So Plex prices. I'm spitballing numbers here, but Plex was about 4.5 million about a year and a half ago, and now it's up to around 6. Like that is runaway inflation by any stretch of the imagination. Kind of like the rest of the economies in the world, and if you look at both of those and how they link together, um, just like how there's been other services in our lives that has adapted to this flex of inflation in order to keep your business. I think the company needs to do the same thing. So right now we only have 2 tiers. We have alpha and omega tier. What I would propose instead is actually a low grade clone, mid grade clone, high grade clone. Just like how we look at implants, I think your subscription should be done the same way. And if you take that and let's say you have, like, again, spitballing numbers here. Let's say you have a 6-month subscription at Eve Online right now that you've bought that. Let's say you could downgrade that, double it for that mid-grade clone, and still have a lot of Omega connectivity, but with limitations. Um, and let's say that 6 months has now become 12 months. Now it is suddenly more attractive to play this game, while also dangling the carrot that, hey, you could spend some plex here and there temporarily upgrade your subscription. I was at the word subscription. All right, I'm going to put my dog outside now.
One eternity later.
I think there should be some like pros and cons to this. Some spitball numbers that I've heard and I've talked with people about is imagine Omega instead of being 2x training time, 4x. Really give a person incentive to pay that $20 a month. I know that WoW is the competition is increasing their subscription rate. For the love of God, CCP, do not follow suit. There's a lot of people that had to run a lot of accounts to play this game, so it makes the game even more expensive if you were to give somebody an option where, let's say, they could fly everything up to freighter, and then from freighter and subcap and down, and be able to do planetary industry, I think would be super beneficial. And you'd always have that stick that you could dangle, that you could Plex to upgrade your subscription. Vice, Plex, so that you don't become alpha and lose every capability that you have and become absolutely useless to your corp. So you incentivize somebody actually putting money into your game, and also incentivize driving the player economy to utilize the in-game currency to upgrade your experience in the game, rather than just be all in or all out like how it is now. Because 5 million skill points doesn't really, it goes kind of far, but it doesn't go far enough. All right, my favorite memory was the first time I was at my work computer and I typed npsi.rocks into the URL and I pressed entered, and it went through and actually displayed on my work screen, and it wasn't blocked, and I was able to screen cap the picture of my MPSI fleet that I coordinated and throw it up on a flyer and try to entice the U.S. Navy esports team that was too scared to log on to EVE Online. So, U.S. Navy esports team, I'm calling you out. Hopefully you get to come on this year, Chief. For the love of God, U.S. time zone, come back. We need you. We miss you. There's not enough of us out there. It's even worse in AUTC. I feel for them as well, but my God, I remember like 2009 up to like 2013 Eve, where the sub count was so high, and I know they're under new management. I know that new management has their own way of doing things, and they've been successful in doing things. But something has got to change, whether it's a monetary value or something, to really incentivize people to come back to this game. There's a lot of people out there that I know would appreciate this game more if there was less delayed gratification. And I know that's a pain point for a lot of us because we've had to be delayed to get said gratification that some people are getting easier. And we need to get over that. Our culture's changing. People want more with less. And right now we're charging more and providing the same. So I enjoy everybody that I fly with. I enjoy all my enemies, especially when they call me primary because my name begins with the letter A. Enjoy all my friends that rep me because, again, my name begins with the letter A. I keep coming back for the people, the mechanics that back this game up, kind of bind us all together in a shared activity, and we need more of you back. So I hope somebody that hasn't played the game in a while, that maybe this convinces you to come back. That I don't care if I see you in a fleet and you're purple to me, or if you're red boxing me and I have you flashing red on my screen. I just want you back. Want to see you around.
A big thanks to Issod for coming out and talking about Eve. Once again, it shows that players are the ones creating content, and sometimes for good causes. Keep your eye out for more information in regards to a Denim Day fleet in April 2025. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone else who's coming out to watch these interviews. As word is getting out, especially since Voices of New Eden was just showcased on the January 31st edition of Community Beat, I'm getting more signups for interviews, which is just awesome. I've been asked to release a podcast version of Voices of New Eden that reads out the questions for those who are in the car or at work listening to the interviews. I hear you. I'm working on getting this done. I need to go over past episodes and get them ready, as well as figure out what platforms I want to release them on. I know YouTube has an option, but they're funny about duplicate content. Starting next week, there will also be some bonus content coming out called Afterburner. I'm working on trying to get some regular schedules going, so there'll be something coming out on my channel every day. So please bear with me. I think this is enough for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Kshal Aideron, and you've been watching an episode of Voices of New Eden.